such a forum for in-depth discussion on a topic which we believe is of both scientific and practical interest.
In March of 2006, a group of scientists met in Dusseldorf to discuss the results of their research. Surprisingly, each had discovered principal foundations for a just and sustainable society had been prepared millennia ago and are described in ancient teachings.
What we are discovering is that the new consciousness is actually an old, timeless, perennial consciousness.
And as the exchanges continued, it became increasingly evident to all participants that the world's present condition had in fact been foreseen.
We have a brain. So the question is, what do we use this brain for? If we would be men from Mars or women from Mars and would come down to Earth and see the news, I don't know whether we would think that we have a thinking humanity.
And to be honest, I see a world where we behave in a very bad manner. There's something seriously wrong.
And this is our time. And it is also written in the book of Zohar that at that time, people will turn back and start looking into those ancient indigenous teachings.
What the old teachings, what they're really talking about, and a lot of those old traditions talk about that terrible thing that's going to take place. They call it Armageddon, which means a terrible fight. Where it actually will be the deciding factor whether humanity manages to actually really focus on goals, on values.
The discussions focused in depth on essential questions. What is the true purpose of life? Why has that purpose been concealed from humanity? And what is the reason for the emptiness people currently feel in the world today?
Our substance is the will to receive, but the problem is that when we want to fulfill our vacuum, the empty desire, the filling in itself neutralizes the desire. So our whole lives we chase pleasures, but we can never be filled. We will remain empty.
Recognize that if you get stuck in the ego lens that fragments and objectifies your world and breaks down information into packages, you're going to end up with a broken world and a broken self.
The scientists came to an almost unanimous agreement that in order to better understand what's happening today, we must identify and examine our very roots.
Then the path is within man to come into a dialogue with the next step of consciousness. This is a real dialogue within, not only what we will have in the next days outside.
There's a very clever cartoon which shows Albert Einstein in front of a blackboard, and he's writing. The caption says, and at this place, right here, a miracle occurs. And that's very much how we feel sometimes when we discover something. Voila! Ah, now I got it. It comes to us without an ability to explain the phenomena that brought it to us.
Classical consciousness, your consciousness is, if you would ask people what happens, how is it produced, it's produced by the brain. It's something that is created. And now we have all the evidence that it's not limited to the brain, and it's probably not even produced by the brain.
Our enhanced consciousness resides not in our brain and is not limited to our brain because our consciousness is non-local. Without a body, we still can have conscious experiences.
It's as if the ego calculus separates the thinker from the object, and this line of separation is important because it cuts us off from unity. And if we're cut off from the integral space, we're finished.
And I believe and I hope that in the near future, modern science will include research on subjective experiences like those that occur in our consciousness, that we will accept field concepts to understand how we are interconnected with each other and with nature in our endangered planet.
What emerged is the shared view that all of humanity is functionally one body, one organism, with each person dependent and interconnected with every other person, and that globalization has only made evident the fact that the world operates as one big village.
Could you do that? Could you just take your jacket off and like find out? Or, well, in some cases you might, for reasons of modesty, not take everything off. But where does this stuff come from? French wool, Nepal, Italy, good. You can tell the people with good taste. I'm sorry, Ireland, Switzerland. You know, I wear a belt, it's leather. I'm assuming some pig gave its life for my belt, but where did that pig live? I have no idea.